So now, as you might have guessed, I'm in the E46 M3. This is a 2006 model, so this is the very last production year for this car. And this one, as I've mentioned in other videos, this is pretty decked out in terms of equipment. Now, it is a convertible, so I guess if there's one mark against it, it's that. It's not the most preferred or desirable model that you can buy in the E46. The coupe is the creme de la creme, and the more packages, and particularly the competition package, is pretty ideal. CSL is going to be such a rarity that it's not likely that you're going to run into one of those, particularly here in the States. But there are a lot of replicas out there, and if you've got a competition and you make a replica or a tribute car out of yours, I would imagine that would bring more money. People just want the complete look. They want the performance, and to be as close to that purity as the CSL as they can get. Obviously, I would never accomplish something like that with a convertible. You can't change the look of the car. And these cars have so much possibility in terms of how you can dress it. And they just look great no matter what you do in most cases. I think that's the beauty of this car, is that you make it whatever it needs to be for you, but at the core of it, the performance is just astounding. And I've been talking a lot about cars that I'd probably like to transition into, cars I'd like to try. I have a list of cars that I'd like to look at owning. I constantly come back to this car along with the 993 in terms of would I get rid of them or not, because they're just such great driver's cars. Over the last month or so of driving this car, I've come to the realization that it is one of the best driver's cars that I've ever been in. From its usability, its practicality, its functionality, and then the performance on top of that. There's not really a lot that touches it. There are a lot of options, but it's a bit unique in its own right. And it makes a hard argument to just get rid of it altogether. But get rid of it altogether is what I've been contemplating doing. As I mentioned previously, it is for sale. However, if it doesn't sell for what I think it should, I'll hold on to it a little longer. And that's not a bad thing, because that means I get to drive it a little longer. Mileage-wise, I'm not all that stressed about it or fussed, because it's, sub 75,000 miles. I bought the car with 66,000 miles. So it's, encroaching on that 10,000 mile increase over the course of, I want to say it's been now almost, if not 7 years. And it will definitely be missed if and when it sells. But, eye on the prize, bigger things, more to come. I've had some really fun times in this car, both by myself and then driving with friends. Chris, a friend of mine who has the Mola Red E46, you've probably seen that video, to ride along. We've done a drive out up north in LA, and that was a lot of fun. We hit some really nice roads, and it was probably the most aggressive I've taken this car through its paces since I've owned it, and that was a lot of fun. But just driving it by myself, just on the weekends that I take it out, it's always been gratifying to take it out. And then on the daily commute, when I do use it, it's always just an engaging experience. Like, just commuting in this car is just as rewarding, just as gratifying as driving it fast. And that duality makes it all those things I listed: practical, it's dependable as well, and it's just an easy car to every day, because no matter how you feel or what mood you're in for driving, you'll be able to accomplish it in this car. So it's a very bittersweet sort of precursor to an end. I will say that it's still one of the quickest sprint cars, with a 0 to 60 around 4.7 to 4.8. Top speed is well over $155, even with the Governor Limited. Probably will top out at about a 175 to 180 without any limitations on it. It's not bad. It's not bad. I think the rush of power is not as invigorating as what you get in some of the newer cars. I drove a 2000 and I want to say 13 or 14 911S several years back, and the way that thing delivered the power was just intense, and it pinned me to the seat. This car won't pin you. It'll throw you back pretty aggressively, but again, it is still a very exciting car to drive in its own right. If you just compare it to itself, it's still legitimate. And I still love driving it. Yeah, it's still the shit. This car, it's still the shit. But it's got me thinking about the entire fleet, the age of the entire fleet, and just, you know, the ability to have something that's a little bit more ferocious. You know, I mean, I still want a lot of different cars. As much as I could be completely content with keeping this car, the 911, even the RX-7 to some extent, there are a lot of other cars that I'd like to have before I'm done driving. And I'd like to get busy trying some new stuff. So that's kind of where my head is at. But every time I drive this car, and I know once I finish the RX-7 and I drive it, I'm going to be like, damn it. It's just going to get harder. But at some point you have to make a decision to move on. And those are the tough decisions, tough first world decisions that I'm making right now. So